first topic?
That's a good way to start every video. We have no topic here at Mike Reviews at all. I got Garth to my left, Ryan to my right. It's been a really interesting week, guys. So much stuff's happened this week. Of course, we had the Vegas shooting. Our condolences to the people that lost their lives and were injured in that. Got some weird stuff going on at McDonald's. What did you think of this last week, Ryan? What's the most interesting thing that you think's happened?
I don't know if it's interesting, but the shooting certainly is a big occurrence. And then the immediate push to, ban this, ban that, which happens after every single shooting in America. And the only thing they can find is like, okay, let's ban bump stops. And we have no motive for the guy. He doesn't fit the profile. He's wealthy, educated, had money, had a wife. He wasn't a loner. He wasn't fucking, John Hinckley. He didn't even have a copy catcher in the rye. No one knows why he exactly did this.
Well, isn't that like the perfect picture of a patsy? The fall guy? The one who's basically got taking all the heat,
Well, the cops did bust in and saw him firing a gun, so I don't think this is a Lee Harvey situation.
They did interview. They did interview the guy that sold him the guns. I seen here recently. The fact that people were talking about two shooters, I don't know if there was two shooters or not. From everything I know, he had 9 minutes with 21 assault rifles with bump stocks on it, shooting down. You do not have to be a sharpshooter.
No, it's like shooting fish in a burrow.
Yeah, one person could have definitely killed that many people. That much, I believe. I have no doubt that one person could have definitely done it. Bump stocks, they're talking about, okay, this is maybe what they're going to ban. The NRA is, for the first time, really opened up banning or any kind of gun control. If anyone doesn't know what a bump stock is, go to the site. There's a really good video on it. I believe the channel is Responsible Gun Owners. But basically what it does is it just holds the trigger down, and it would be horrible accuracy for a machine gun because it does nothing with the recoil.
Full auto, you can't hit shit hardly. It's basically just he was firing a giant shotgun in the crowd at that point.
Yeah, it's called pray and spray for a reason. Is this sharpshooter went out there, this is from 25 yards away. He put, a good size target out there. It's regular size if you go to, not the triangle ones. This is almost the body size. AK, he did an AK and an SKS, and he put them on there. And he hit one and two targets in the span of 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. Then he took it off to semi-automatic himself and hit 17. So that was, it's obviously not something that's an accurate thing.
Okay, so would you say the sales for bump stocks are going to go up?
Oh, absolutely.
In fact, send one to the show.
I don't think they're such a bad thing. If you send some bump stock, I'd use it. Somebody send a bump stock to 1721 Hewitt Avenue, Central Building in Everett. I'll go out and use it, and we'll video it.
And we can share.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to point this out. I'd like to point two facts to everybody. Everyone who's on the bandwagon of banning the bump stock, there are 6 different types of devices that do the exact same thing as that I personally know of. They affect the trigger. There's a little switch turning around the thing. There's even people that just know enough about machining can take apart an AK, or not AK, or they can do it with an AK. Polish down the this, grind down the that. I'm not going to tell the internet what to do and how to do it because I know how to do it. And you can easily just take about 15 minutes and you can have a full auto fucking firearm. 2, you can fire just as fast with single action. I've done it myself with air pistols, with regular pistols. You can't hit shit for shit. But I can make a Colt 1911 fire like a Glock 18 just full. Just like empty magazine in like 1 second. So if people are trained enough on how to do it, it's not going to matter if they've got a special what's it attachment hooked up to their rifle or whatever.
Yeah, if you're talking about, and I don't want to see very little gun control because I really want to protect our Second Amendment rights. I don't think that's the thing to attack. But if you want to look at something that makes people be able to do mass shootings, it's all about the size of the clip. I mean, if you got a 6-shooter, they're going to be able to kill people and stuff. But if they don't have to reload near as often, I think that's a lot bigger. What do you call it? less of a hindrance for them than a bump stock. I think that's more of a feather in their cap.
Well, that might be why the guy had so many rifles, because just once one was empty, he just picked up another one right away. That might have been why he had 20.
Yeah, I don't know how many he had set up at one time. I think he had them set up on stands. I know he had 2 adjoining rooms, which...
There was a couple with bipods. There was a couple just free floating. There was just a couple... We don't have all the information on everything he had. I'm sure we'll find out.
That's my point.
Yeah.
There is still a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure the FBI...
ETF.
And ETF. I mean, there's a whole lot of asses trying to be covered right about now, I'm sure. There's basically a lot of questions. Like, it took, 72 minutes for them to get up there and shut this guy down? That's what it took?
It took 9 minutes to get to the room. Actually, an unarmed guard came to the room, an unarmed guard of the hotel. His name was Jesus Campos. He was
shot, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was shot in the leg, but this guy is a real hero. He went up to the room, knocked on the door. The guy shot through the door and shot him in the leg. And police, he came down, found police, said, hey, this guy's in this room. He opened up a bunch of different rooms, so they were able to get through these rooms and knock down And, for these adjoining rooms, you can pull these walls apart. That's how they adjoin the rooms. He helped them do that while he's bleeding out. And they're like, dude, we got to get you to the hospital. He's like, no, not before we make sure that all these people are safe. So kudos to Jesus Campos.
Good on you there, Jesus.
Yeah. But still, there's a lot of questions been raised. Why it took so long. And was there a second shooter? Okay, because there's a lot of videos of supposedly a second shooter. Was there a person on ground level and shooting into the crowd?
Yeah, everybody's wondering if the girlfriend is an accomplice, even though she was in the Philippines at the time.
Maybe she was a facilitator and she left, purposely, because
it's all speculation. I mean, we don't know. We have no motive.
Yeah.
The only thing they found like a little notepad with a sequence of numbers on it that no one knows what the fuck it's supposed to mean. There was no like, the world is black, I must end it all. It's just like 101087557777. So it's like, who the fuck knows what the hell that means?
And ISIS immediately claimed responsibility for it. But it seems like to me they claim responsibility for everything.
Well, if they claim responsibility and it's proven that they're not responsible, then they lose credibility. So it's not in their favor to say it's ISIS when it's not.
And I've heard that argument, and I wonder if I don't remember things as well as I think I do, because it seems to me like they claim a lot of things right afterwards.
Oh, of course.
If it was ISIS, do you think we'd be hearing about it in the media right off the bat that this was an ISIS attack on American soil?
Maybe if it were ISIS.
I'd say that if the guy turned out to be Muslim, it'd be all over the news. It'd be like ISIS, Al Qaeda, Dirk, everything. But this dude seems to be white, waspy, wealthy, had a mansion, went on cruises.
What was his religion?
I don't know.
I never heard any religious affiliation.
What was his politics?
We're still not sure.
See,
I mean, if he's rich, he must have been Republican.
I've actually seen videos where...
Well, he had guns, so...
That he was actually...
I don't think he was voting for Bernie Sanders there.
Okay, so the rumor that I've heard is that somehow the government was involved, that this guy, Paddington, is that his name?
No.
Yeah.
I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah,
I don't want to say his name because I don't want to give this son of a bitch any credibility.
Well, at any rate, the shooter was somehow affiliated with gun sales from our government to Muslim terrorists on American soil. That there was somehow gun deals going, and this was a gun deal gone wrong.
Yeah,
which would explain the number of guns.
If I'm gonna go on a killing spree, I'm gonna strap every gun I have to my back and just go for it. So, it clearly looked like he wasn't planning on leaving that room alive. I mean, he's in a stationary position. The snipers know you shoot, you move, you shoot, you move, you shoot, you move. You don't just stay in one place and waste a bunch of people.
I've heard that he had an escape route. He had also rented out hotels for different venues.
He had explosives in his car.
Yeah, there was that. Anybody who wants to comment or has any more information or just wants to start a conversation, please put your comments down below. Please give us a thumbs up and a subscription. We really, subscriptions really drive us. Hopefully we'll be able to get sponsors, more monetization, and just a better budget so we're not filming on my crappy iPhone.
And I'd like my last thoughts on the issue are maybe he just really hated New Country. Maybe he was like a Merle Haggard, Waylon Jones fan and just really hated that New Country.
Or just
The Jason Aldean pop country.
He was more of a Johnny Paycheck kind of man.
I had not thought of that. And
that was my very first thought was Country Music Festival open fire. I was like, he probably hates the New Country.
The pop country that almost sounds like rap with
the pickup truck and the love of my wife. And
he was going for Lollapalooza. He made reservations for the Lollapalooza and these other cities and whatnot. There's 2 other cities.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't that particular kind of music.
I didn't know if it was tied to a certain kind of music or anything.
It might be that he was just running out of money. Maybe he sent the last of his money to his girlfriend and he decided to end it all. And it's like a suicide by cop on a grand scale.
The one thing I thought that was crazy is it's like I almost felt desensitized when I heard the news about this. What was your first thoughts, Garth, when you first heard about it?
Somebody where I work told me about it, and that it was at a concert. And when I think of a concert, you think of large groups of people. So whenever you have large groups of people and an attack of some sort, you immediately think, well, this is terrorism. Yeah. This is meant to instill terror. This is basically a way of saying you can't go to a concert anymore without risking your life. You can't congregate. You can't assemble, okay, in great numbers without something like this, okay, being a possibility.
Okay? And I mean, doesn't he still meet the description of a terrorist, even though there's no religious affiliation? He's got people scared to go to these kind of venues.
But he had no agenda. There's nothing. There's no motivation. We have no idea other than it's a terror attack on a large group of people in a very, Las Vegas is a.
We're using the term terror attack way too often in this country. It's been spread so thin for everything. I mean, if somebody walks into a 7-Eleven and just shoots the place up, is that a terrorist attack? Is that just a guy wanting money, or is it a real person?
There was a guy in Tacoma that walked into the cafe and there was like 4 cops in there. And
shot 4 police officers.
Yeah, and basically he was knew he was going to jail.
Killed 4 police officers.
Decided to do suicide by cop, and they eventually he ran off. They caught him. They gunned him down. Okay, and that's what he wanted. The guy was a psycho. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And
was that a terror attack, or was that just the dude taking his way out?
The dude knew he didn't want to go back to jail. Okay,
it's probably not fun.
Because he'd been in jail a lot, right? Okay, and he knows that if he goes in this time, he's going to be an old man. So this is his last hurrah, right? And so he's going to go out in a blaze of glory, right? Because he doesn't care about his life, much less anybody else's, right? Doesn't care how he affects society. He hates society. And that means that we live in a wrong kind of society if we generate people like that.
I don't like society very much, but I didn't go shoot 4 cops.
Yeah, and that brings up the mental...
If you don't like society, I mean, which is the preferable one? Which society in the world is the preferable one?
The world they live in Mad Max? I'd be up for that.
No, that's a Hollywood thing. I'm talking about a real country song.
I mean, too.
Okay, which country is the country that is... Because I had this argument on Facebook with a guy. I said, our country's not perfect. Okay, but I think I would rather be here than, we have like 250 other countries around the planet.
There's at least a good dozen.
Yeah.
I think it's actually right around 200,
Norway comes in number 1 as the nicest place to live, supposedly, even though they've got the second highest rate of drug overdoses in the EU and stuff.
Suicide, right? Yeah. I think it's like first or second highest suicide rate.
Yeah, but it comes in, on the United Nations list, of the nicest places, to live your life. Norway comes in.
I'd go to Norway.
Oh, and you're not.
But it's not there. The impact that America has made in its lifetime, far outshadows anybody else's, as far as I'm concerned. There's no country that has lived, the 2 world wars we've fought, the space race, the
not in that amount of time. In 200 years, not in that amount of time, I don't think.
We did change from a little backwater burg to the number 1 nation in the country as far as holding power goes.
There's a lot of positive things. America is a beacon of light, and that's why so many people want to come here. Is because we are the beacon of hope. Now, has that beacon of hope moved or shifted to some other country? Is what I'm saying.
I don't think it has. I don't think yet. No, and as many things as we look at, like people say, "Oh, make America great again. America used to be better." You look at a lot of stats, a lot of crime stats, a lot of murder stats, and all of them are down since the 80s. Basically, all violent crime and rape. The only thing that's up is mass shootings, like this one, but you can't escape it. That's the big difference right now. I mean, I get notifications on my phone all day. Every time somebody gets shot, it seems like at a 7-Eleven or a burglary. This used to happen all day long.
We are a more violent country than other countries. I will say that.
Well,
like, I'm sure this isn't really happening that much in Scotland or Japan or Norway again.
Why do you think that is, Ryan?
We carry guns. That's why. Okay, everybody's got guns.
If you want to do some criminal shit, and if you want to get a gun, you can go to any country in the world and get that gun. Yeah. So it's not any country.
You really want to go to one of these jails over in those other countries? What they do?
Actually, a civilized, for like London jail, yes. A Swedish, Norwegian jail, hell yeah, they're like a goddamn health spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Japan,
so that would be the place to do the crime, is over there.
And America incarcerates more people per capita than any other country in the world.
Oh, by far, we have over 2 million people incarcerated.
Yeah, I know. The reason is, of course,
we make a lot of stupid laws.
Well, there's a lot of drug laws, but there's also this is an economic thing. The whole chain gang, the what they did in the old days was generate money by getting a workforce by just arresting people for no good stuff, right? And just throwing them to work in those fields. And
pretty sure they still arrest people for no good reason.
You break rocks, you'd make plates. There's a prison industry called Unicor, which makes transformers and road signs.
Okay, so there's all sorts of money involved.
It's an industry that's always going to be fed as long as there's a big business involved in that industry.
Yeah, well, it's basically the dark side of capitalism. Okay, when it gets right down to it.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any perfect system. It's because we're not perfect people.
No, we're not.
That's the issue. It's not the system. It's the people. When you bring in the human factor, I mean, socialism sounds great, but I can't remember who said it, but it was a great quote. It says, "Socialism, great system, wrong species."
So I think we mentioned that once before.
Yeah, I'm repeating myself.
If we go back to the old video, we'll find it. You'll probably remember who the guy was that said it.
Socialism is just communism with the shave.
I think this is a good time for a sponsor break. Our sponsor, Jive. Thank you for sponsoring us. Jive it's like the Uber of merchandising. If you don't know what it is yet, go online to Jive. There's a link down below. It will tell you exactly how to do Jive. Put in my name, Michael Benedict, which I'll spell it out in the link. I'll also have the link. You'll get a $100 referral fee if you use my name. And we will all get $50 a piece to do something hopefully fun with and bring you better videos and more content. But it's work when you want. Call in, you feel like working, you go to the app. It shows your area. You do at this time have to have an iPhone, unfortunately. But you go on your app and it shows you a map. Like it'll show me Marysville, Everett, Lake Stevens, Mill Creek. Most jobs are from anywhere from about $70 all the way up to almost $300. Yeah, they prorated at $15 an hour, but if you're a faster merchandiser than that, I've had some jobs after I prorated. I've been doing it recently. One job, I figured it out. I made over $32 an hour. So it worked out well. You get a write off your mileage, but you get $100. Just do 10 jobs in the month of October, which is getting a little closer now, but you can do 2 4-hour jobs in one day, and that counts as 2 jobs. So leave us down as a reference, get that $100 referral fee, and please give us a like and subscribe while you're at it. We appreciate all your support.
Yes. Okay, did everybody bring their own particular topic? Anybody bring a topic?
I don't study for tests.
I specifically gave Ryan permission to not study because he seems to be the wittiest with us of the impulsive comebacks.
What's the
He's the youngest also, so.
What's the word? There's a if you're on stage, what's it, impromptu? What's the word, when
Improv, yeah.
Improv, yeah. He's a good improvisationalist.
Yeah.
Adapt, overcome, adversity.
I like to study. I like to do the homework. I like to look at all the background and get the big picture and then come up with devastating stuff. Of course, everything changes at the last minute.
I do have a small idea I was toying with a little while back. Since we kind of finished talking on the whole thing about prisons and crime rates and stuff, there's something that bugs me that always happens that I don't know if this has anybody else thinks this is fucked up and wrong, but it's police creating crimes. Like there's a show on like the reality channel called Bait Car.
Yeah.
Where they basically
I've seen that.
yeah. The cops, they put like a car that's very popular to be stolen. They put like vivid cameras. And then cops just sit there in a van and go like, okay, we're seeing two black guys. They're probably going to try and steal the car. It shows the guys get in the car, and they're like, oh, shit, it says locked. Oh, fuck, the keys are in here. Oh, look at that. Oh, and they start, and the cop's dead killed. They're like, you're under arrest for stealing a car. Well, now, would those guys have actually stolen that car if they've been like, oh, look, it's locked. It's fine. There's no keys in it.
Yeah, it's called
just move on.
It's a sting operation.
Yeah.
And I think those are bullshit because they always say this. There's the supply and demand. The reason why people there's so much drugs is because people are demanding and supplying it, right? If people didn't want it, it wouldn't be supplied.
So you don't believe in sting operations?
I don't think they're fucking right. If you're doing something like illegal, yes, and you're like caught in it. But if they're creating something, if they're setting it up, it's basically entrapment for one.
How is that not entrapment? That's the Fourth Amendment.
For instance, like last month in Bellevue, the cops they set up this fake brothel in Bellevue, and they got like 85 fucking Microsoft employees.
I seen that Backpage. They got a bunch of places.
Exactly.
Backpage.com.
And if that wasn't there,
not a sponsor,
then would those guys have done anything? If they were like, this is right next to me, and
supply and demand.
I'm a tech nerd and I haven't been laid in 20 years, so why not? I'll go check it out. And then they're like, okay, so it's this much for this. It's like, and you're arrested. And so if that wasn't there, would those guys' lives have been ruined? Would they have lost their jobs? Mm-hmm. Or would they just been like, oh, you know what? I don't want to travel to Kirkland or Everett's red light strip.
Okay, well, that the theory is that you set up a sting like this because you've got a problem with too many Johns or with too many drug dealers or whatever.
Why are Johns a problem now? Why is prostitution even illegal? It's too consenting.
Well, they wanted to go after for the human trafficking angle, but there's also there's the independent gal on the street. There's
legalize it and monetize it, and like other countries have done, and it's been great in Germany.
They do that in Nevada.
It's worked out well in Germany.
I mean, we've got legal weed, and we doubled the money that the state made for it since last year.
Crime is down.
Legalize prostitution, and we'll be able to fucking just disassociate from the rest of the country and start our own little thing. We won't have to worry about being one of those, shelter states for all the immigrants that Trump wants to not give money to.
Okay. First of all,
they'll have automatic jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do the prostitutes come from?
They come from all over the world.
No. I mean,
they get their rucksack and their rubbers, and they hitch a ride up down Northwest.
Do you think this is the job that most decent women would want to do? It's because they were forced into it that you even have women who have low self-esteem and decide to be.
Now, I'm not condoning human trafficking, but if that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. Everybody's got to have a certain kind of skill.
They don't. That's the whole idea. They don't choose that. They're forced into it because of the supply and demand. There's people out there. There are these.
They have a product. Someone wants it. They're willing to part with it or use it for a little bit.
And wouldn't legalization cut down on human trafficking though? Isn't that a valid argument or not?
No.
I mean, this is
why not?
Because
I staunchly disagree with you on this.
Child prostitution is
prostitution.
No one's
is never
condoning
legal
that.
anyways.
Okay, but that's where it's like you want the marijuana or do you want the hard stuff, the heroin? You see what I'm saying?
I'd try heroin if it was legal.
Okay, but you wouldn't try child prostitution.
It'd be much safer than it is now. I'm not condoning heroin.
Okay, but that's what happens. To get women to get into the prostitution and whatnot, they have to get them early, and that's what these other countries do. The whole idea is to protect children and to protect women from abuse.
That's why I'm saying make it legal, make it regulated.
Okay, if you do that, then prostitution essentially dries up and goes away. If you have
normal prostitution.
I think it will dry up and go away.
I think it would help with social diseases, STDs, spread of AIDS, all that kind of stuff. If there was
divorces because no one would be getting married.
I mean, there's a lot of first world countries that have legal prostitution. Germany has legal prostitution, where if the prostitute gets beaten or robbed, you can go to the cops and be like, "Hey, this guy took my money and he also punked me in the face." The cops will go arrest the John or Johann, and then she's protected and safe. Right now, they're walking the streets. They're not safe. They're not fine.
Okay, but why? Okay, why would you have essentially what? Would just something you go into the high school and say, okay, now we're having career day. Okay, all the women here who want to, young women who want to get into prostitution, please line up over here. That doesn't happen.
You never know. That lady's never shown up. There's girls that want to be strippers and twerkers because they see BET videos and rap videos and shit. There's little 15-year-olds, 17-year-olds who are like, oh, I'm gonna be a music video, shake my ass and my tails.
Yeah.
So
if you give them that option,
doesn't that say there's something wrong with our society if that kind of stuff is glorified? Because that lifestyle leads to drugs, it leads to diseases, it leads to domestic abuse and stuff like that.
When it's consensual sex between two adults, though, I mean, morally, ethically, I think you can be against it, but how can you tell these two consenting adults that are of legal age, they're both willing, that it is illegal for them to touch each other if money exchanges hands?
In Holland, in Amsterdam,
They can be a whore all day long.
It's called a vice for a reason. It's called a vice. Right? Drugs are a vice.
Vices are wonderful. Holland and Amsterdam, they have legal marijuana. They have legal prostitution. They also have legal amounts of small, like harder core drugs. You can have like so much of this, and this. Then they have one of the lowest, crime rates in Europe than in America.
I don't have to look.
There's not as many rapes. There's not as many drug charges, drug offenses. Because it's legal, it's accessible, it's there, and it's also regulated, it's mandated. They have people that come in and check. They do health checks like twice a week.
Well, I mean, how much did alcohol abuse go up
during
Prohibition?
These prostitutes probably come from all over Europe and other places, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they have to travel from their country of origin that screwed them up in the first place, and then go to Amsterdam and try and make a decent, an honest dollar, right?
Hey, what's dishonest about it?
Well, if there's nothing dishonest, like say, if it's two consenting adults and it's legal and whatnot, morally it's not right, because if you, have sex, catch a disease, bring it home, give it to your wife, or give it to somebody else, that's how diseases get spread. Okay, and there is, the prostitution is basically wanton sex. It's the ideal climate for spreading STDs. That's why STDs don't go away.
Well, that's still a crime.
Because of casual sex and because people get drunk.
That's still a crime in a lot of these places.
Which isn't saying anything good about alcohol.
In Germany, and a lot of these other countries, they have protected sex. And if a man goes out and gets a prostitute and gets an STD and brings it home to his wife, I say men because I never heard of women buying prostitutes. It's got to be pretty rare.
There are male gigolos,
but I think they're pretty few. Yeah,
there was a show
they can be found. That's a crime though for him to bring that disease home.
Yeah, and it should be. And that's why when they're medically regulated, they get health checked twice a week. And they're like, okay, sorry Jenny, you can't fuck this week because you got the clap, so we got to take you out, shoot you full penicillin.
I just don't want to see women in that sort of position, in that kind of an environment, and it's glorified in Hollywood, I know, okay, and there's a lot of women out there who make a lot of money, but that's not going to be for all women. There's women out there that are simply at life's the end of their rope in life, and this is all that they've got, and so they turn to it. They don't want to, but they have to. And then it just gets worse from there.
More morally and ethically, I mean, we can, say that this is, not a good thing. But that brings up the question is because we're morally opposed to it, does that make it illegal, or does that just mean we're morally opposed to it?
You can make anything legal.
Speaking of morally opposed, there used to be monasteries and churches back in like the 1700s, 1800s that had brothels in them.
Okay. I'll go beyond that. The Vatican, the Pope himself ran his own brothel back in the day. Okay.
I didn't want to say Vatican, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's just a part of history.
They're only used for condoms. Was also smuggling cocaine in, but
anyway, all I know is that it's not good for women. This is not. If you can't go into the school and say, "Here's your career field, prostitution." If you can't do that, then that's wrong.
But there's a lot of shitty back-breaking work out there right now that I wouldn't want my kids to do.
No.
I wouldn't want my daughter to be picking asparagus in a field all day. And a lot of people automatically associate that work with a certain ethnic group, but there's no reason that it has to be. Anybody can do those kinds of jobs.
It used to
crappy jobs that break down their body and pay very, very poorly.
Well, it shouldn't pay poorly, and it is backbreaking work. And there was migrant families who did that sort of work for generations. They traveled around, and there was housing provided while they were there harvesting and whatnot, and they made a living that way. And it was essentially, you wanted to save up enough money to get out of it, you know, and whatnot. And so, but eventually that was replaced by illegal immigrants who came in and worked cheaper and probably were better quality workers. They were more motivated to get the money to send it back in remittances and whatnot, you know. So essentially, there's a lot of stuff that's been taken over, you know, like cab driving in New York and whatnot has been taken over.
Yeah, good luck finding someone that speaks English.
Yeah, you know.
Until Uber.
Funny enough, if you go to Kuwait, you will find an American cab driver. And it frustrates the hell out of them.
That's pretty funny.
Well, it's because, you know, a culture comes over, you know, it finds a niche, okay, you know, and makes the most of it, you know, and that's what every culture that's immigrated over here has done, you know, whatever your special talents, whatever your skill set is and stuff like that. A lot of my ancestors, you know, they worked in the woods. You know, I worked in fishing industry and stuff like that, you know, my Finnish relatives and stuff like that. Norwegian, Swedish, whatnot. They come over, they go to Minnesota. They go to the climates that's similar to theirs, and they do the same stuff that they did over in their other country.
I live in a Scandinavian community that was started by a whole bunch of swinging dick fucking herring eaters, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
And they had their own, lodges and halls and stuff like that. You know,
yeah.
And which not so much nowadays, but there's still remnants of that. But the New York was divided up into boroughs that had,
the 5 boroughs, yeah,
and different ethnicities and whatnot. And
anybody just see gangs in New York?
Yeah,
that's where the bad
essentially.
was.
But what we don't have, is the community, and I always harp on that. We don't have
you do harp on it a tad, don't you?
Yeah, because everything traces back. You know, all roads lead to Rome, and that's it. The community, the lack of it, because corporations are getting all the benefits of everybody working together as a team, but they don't have the responsibility, and so you can't reinvest in the community. There's no infrastructure there to reinvest in.
And that's a big reason, I think, why Trump was reelected. I think a lot of people honestly thought he was going to be the new Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, God, no. I like Teddy Roosevelt. Don't ever compare Trump to Teddy
I love Teddy Roosevelt, too, but some of the things that Trump promised were good.
Why do you like Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, we're going to have another disagreement here.
No, I want to know. Well, specifically, what did he do that you really impressed you, makes you
sent the Great White Fleet around the world to say, don't fuck with America.
Okay.
Got the Panama Canal started, developed Secretary of Interiors to save all those, so have all those national parks and wildlife that we would have just been mowed under by everybody else.
Okay, so he's a tough guy.
He instituted the minimum wage.
Yeah.
In New York, he cleaned up New York, got rid of all the textile files, the child labor, all that shit when he was, commissioner of some kind in New York City. And he was also fucking rough rider. He actually put his dick where his mouth was, or not so much that, but.
What was his party?
He was the Bull Moose Party.
Yes.
Before that, he was also a Democrat.
Yeah.
And he brought up Szechuan fucking hell. He was a fucking badass in his own right, in his own age, and he backed up his shit. He got shot during a campaign speech.
That's what I was going to say.
Kept talking.
That's my favorite Teddy Roosevelt story, is that he got shot, and he went on ahead and kept doing his speech,
He
while
got
he was
shot,
campaigning.
punched the guy out, and just got back up on the pulpit and said...
They don't make guys like that anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, do we have anything close to that nowadays?
But the biggest thing that I think he did was he broke up the monopolies. And
Yeah,
I think that's something we have a huge problem with. Again, we may not technically have monopolies, but with these super companies, we're looking at the same kind of situation, I think, as when Teddy Roosevelt came in. And honestly, I think the future of democracy and capitalism was at stake before Teddy Roosevelt came up and picked up and broke up the monopolies.
Well, the heads of the 3 biggest companies in the world, is U.S. Steel, Shell Oil, and they got together and basically bought a president and got him elected.
That Taft?
Yeah. Well, not Taft. It was the guy that was right before Roosevelt, because he was made the vice president because they stuck him there so he couldn't do anything. No, Wilson came later. Wilson was
Wilson was a...
It was either, I want to say not Garfield, but...
McKinley?
No, one of the ones that got shot. So
McKinley got shot.
McKinley, that's right. So they installed McKinley. They bought him. They paid for him.
Yeah,
they put him in there. They put Teddy Roosevelt in there because he was making too much of a fuss. And they were like, yeah, well, he won't be able to do anything as vice president because vice president back then you didn't do shit. You couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, he is one heartbeat away from being the president, though. And I go, oh, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
Oh, look, our worst nightmare happened.
Yeah, he also Teddy Roosevelt brought judo to the United States.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't know if there'd even be MMA here or jiu-jitsu or any of that stuff.
Also, that's why we have teddy bears.
That's right.
Yes.
Also, he was the one who signed off on the publication of The Jungle. The New York Times was not going to run
right.
it, but Teddy Roosevelt, when he was, fighting in the Spanish-American War, more guys died from bad meat products than died from bullets, and so he had it in for the Meat Trust. He saw that the book, was basically taking them to task, so he signed off on it, and that's why we have The Jungle.
Yep, I've seen that. I've read that.
So I'm a very big fan of Teddy Roosevelt.
Plus, I like whenever the History Channel does like a documentary like TR, The American Life. They have Richard Dreyfuss doing the voice of Teddy Roosevelt. And that just makes it better.
Yeah.
Because you go from like Stand By Me to like.
So I'm glad we're all in agreement because Teddy
We're all
Roosevelt's
like
one of my favorite presidents.
We need another
If
guy
not my
like that.
favorite.
That's what we need.
We definitely need a Teddy Roosevelt
We should
right
just
now.
clone him. Just
We're-
clone him, grow him in a
We
big
could
ass
do that
jar.
right now. We could, or we are. If we can't, we're very, very close.
Okay,
to
everybody
doing
knows
that.
we like Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, so
And-
next time we'll all bring Teddy.
And now we have a segment we can kind of
I have
break
a bear I'm
out.
going to bring.
We
with
stayed
bear.
on the same subject again for like 5 minutes. That was awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
But
See what happens when I yell loud and get aggressive? It just keeps it on track.
I'm glad I pressed the right button. I
Like a
needed you
damn
to.
train conductor.
we're going from that talking about cloning humans. Do we want to talk about that? I mean, is that completely unethical, completely immoral? Is that something we should
Well, here's
be
the
messing
thing.
with?
You're okay. The argument was made a while back that parents have a child and the child dies tragically. Why not just get the DNA from the child, clone the child? You have the same child again. The problem is that child is going to suffer by comparison to the
Because
original.
they'll always be like, I wonder what Jimmy 1.0 would have been like.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm against this form of reproduction. Okay, because it's first of all there's always going to be replicative fading. Anytime you make a copy of something, mistakes creep in. Okay, you're never going to get the exact same thing.
See, I'm for it
Genetic.
for this way. I don't want to have kids, but I'd love to have a clone of me, like a little me running around that can be like, yes, now I'm going to teach you all this stuff not to fuck up in life. Pull a complete Django Fett and make my own little fucking mini-me just grows up.
You need a mini me is what you
Because I know what I'm going to look like, I know what I'm going to basically personality-wise kind of be like, and I'm going to know what my genetic faults are early, so I'm going to be like, oh hey, by the way, all your teeth are going to be fucked up by the time you're 20. So no soda for you ever.
We can go in there now and
Why
they
don't you
can
make a
genetically
giant
change
me
this.
instead of making a little me? Make a giant me, one that's bigger than you, right? Because then you become the mini me.
Are you saying
right?
it's got a
But
small
then,
man complex?
but then you can't, Bob, then you can't tell it what to do if it's
That's
50 foot
right.
tall.
That's right. See,
And
that's
a 50
what's
foot-
unfair about it.
A
You can't
50
make
foot
a
tall
mini.
me would make King Kong look like a fucking sissy. I would just be punching and stomping everything.
See, that'd be no good.
It would be fun as hell when you have a bad day.
Well,
When you're just mad at the world, you don't want to go take out a clay. You don't want to climb
wait
to
a
the
minute.
very-
Why don't you just go to Japan and build a giant robot?
They have enough problems in Japan. Japan's been beaten up enough by Godzilla and Gojira and Mothra and.
But they're
Us.
already, they already probably have the technology. If they don't, they're very close now.
Oh,
They can go in utero and look at the DNA and say, hey, your child's going to have this defective disease. If you found out your child was susceptible to diabetes,
They actually can
would
do
you want
that
to change
now.
that?
They can do that. They can even do that here. They can be like, oh, your kid's going to have Down syndrome. Do you want us to reset, or do you want to just deal with that expense forever?
Yeah. While you're at it, do you want us to make him a super athlete? Is that ethical?
Exactly.
Basically, what preserves human dignity? Okay, is essentially the
dignity?
question. Well, dignity
It's very open to interpretation.
You have to separate, what's good about humanity, what's bad about humanity. Okay, there's the moral, there's the immoral, there's the
We can
sacred,
take out the
there's,
serial killer
there's the
gene.
profane.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, you've got some sort of a genetic anomaly that causes people to turn into killers later on in life and whatnot. Okay, human dignity says get rid of it. And let's say that the child affected with that gene grows up to be a
Hitler?
grows up to be a good person. Okay, in other words, You know, in other words, a righteous person. Okay, what would be their decision? The most righteous decision they could make about whether or not children like them should be allowed, you know, to continue.
I'm not talking if they're allowed to continue, but if you can separate just that separate gene, and that's what they're looking at. They're on the cusp of if they're not able to do it already.
Like, hey, you know, Susan's gonna have palsy. Do you want us to snip that out there, or do you want us to leave it in?
We can save your kid. Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Well, I'm talking about.
It's like making a
not talking
Subway
about
sandwich. You
eugenics.
can be like, you know, give me more little yellow peppers and give me some mustard. No, I don't want that in the bacon club. Take the this part out, and it's still gonna
There's
be
been
a
a few
sandwich.
science fiction movies about designer children, hasn't there?
There's been a few, yeah. There's been The Island.
Okay.
There's been that one with the AI thing, kind
Yeah.
of sort of that
We've
way.
never been so close to
Okay.
it being able to do it, though.
I know. Okay, because we've cloned sheep. We've already got the sheep.
Oh,
cloned
that was,
perfectly,
what,
right,
15,
you know?
20 years ago?
Yeah.
That was a long
Okay,
time ago.
So cloning a human being is
96.
probably already in the works. Okay, I'm going to say it's.
Oh, I guarantee
There's some
you
Frankenstein
cloned humans
labs out there, I'm sure,
Yeah.
that are already, you know, doing their
Yeah.
thing. You know, science. It doesn't. You know, everybody wants to be first in science. Everybody
By the way,
wants
we're
the
not
great trend.
sponsored by the new Blade Runner movie, just so everybody knows. Even though I'm gonna go see that now.
How does? I haven't seen the reviews on it. I hope it's as good as the last one,
I don't
the
know.
first one rather.
Which version? There's been like 58 different extended cuts that have come out since it came out.
I do
The good
definitely want
version.
to see it, yeah. But I mean, I'm really interested in this. I'm really interested in the stem cell research. Everything that we've moved on from there. You can take stem cells from fat off of your stomach, make yourself skinnier, inject them in your shoulders, and not have to have shoulder surgery. You have stronger arms. There's Joe Rogan was talking about. I was listening to him. He's talking about. He'd had problems with the shoulder for like 8 years from jiu-jitsu, that he'd had a bunch of tears and different things. And they shot him up with this stem cell stuff. So like 3 weeks later, ever since then for years, that shoulder, he can't even tell the difference between that one and the other shoulder.
His left and right.
Okay, do you remember
Did I say left and right? I can't remember.
No.
Star Trek
But,
Next
yeah.
Generation episode called Skin of Evil?
No, I had sex in high school.
Okay. Well, this episode had to do with an entire race divesting themselves of their dark side and leaving it on a planet.
I did watch Voyager once, but that was for the chick in the bodysuit.
7 of 9.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan.
Jerry, yes, she was very nice. You know, I like T'Pol in Enterprise. Actually, I think she's hot. What about you?
I have no idea.
There's Chapel.
I was a big Star Wars fan. I never really paid much attention to Star Trek. I had an aunt and uncle that would have to be at home every single day to watch Star Trek The Next Generation. And even if it was a rerun, it didn't matter. It did not matter what was going on in life.
Mm-hmm.
They had to be sitting there when that came on. Because, this was before On Demand and the Netflix and Hulu and all this
Well,
crap.
the reason I bring the whole Star Trek thing up is because they address some of these issues in their episodes. Okay.
Like the
And-
man who was black on one side and white on the other, but the man who was white on one side and black on the other, and they cannot be friends.
You can't make it any simpler, right? You cannot make it any simpler to understand than that.
I
right?
did like Data. Data was kind of cool.
Okay, but there was a lot of episodes dealing with cloning and dark side stuff like
Wasn't
that.
the replicator basically a big cloning machine that just rearranged the atoms and made it out of nothing? Like coffee, atoms, coffee.
Okay, Enterprise ran across basically a planet full of clones, that just keep cloning themselves, right? And they can't fix the replicative fading issue, right? And so they need new cells they basically need new clones, and so they pick Riker and the Doctor in order to
Replenish stuff. It's the same thing can be said for inbreeding, and you keep fucking the same thing enough, not getting enough new materials or genetic species in there. It's just gonna narrow down, and you're gonna get those cauliflower ear, no tooth banjo
Now,
plants.
is this what would happen with a society that gets rid of all of its junk DNA?
I don't know. If you cloned one person 50 different times the same way over again, you might be a little bit.
If
washed out
everybody narrows down, their vision of beauty and perfection is narrowed down, okay, all right, to a small subset, doesn't that do the same thing to an entire race
We're
that
already
we're talking
doing
about?
that. We have teacup poodles, teacup pot-bellied pigs and shit.
That's pedigree.
Why can't you make yourself a Jennifer Lopez that's 23-year-old with triple Ds?
We have already experimented with eugenics in this country. There's a reason why So many of the athletes in the NFL are these giant, 6 foot, 7 foot
I want to
tall,
go back to Jennifer Lopez.
massive.
Everyone wants to go back to Jennifer Lopez.
Go ahead, elaborate on that. Okay.
Yes, I have a Jennifer Lopez fetish, and my wife understands this.
So are you encouraging her to get a fat ass?
Oh, I just
Honey,
love Jennifer
honey, turn it
Lopez.
off.
The accent, everything.
Did you
Okay,
see that
so
South Park where Cartman was Jennifer Lopez?
If I don't remember that one, but I'm gonna have to make sure and stay away from that because I don't ever want to think of that image when I see Jennifer Lopez.
Because his hand starts dating Ben Affleck.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
I
now.
got Ben
It
Affleck's
wasn't real
food.
enough to.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
okay, so any rate, so there's going to be a point of view that everybody's vision of some artists, I understand this.
Everyone's own opinion.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Okay.
Okay, this is the old saying.
And if you're coining a woman, if you give her a Mexican accent, that makes her more attractive.
I think her breast that gravity would be defied by. Like, just
That would
about
be
out
great.
the ear.
everybody's different. That's what I'm saying.
purple
Okay.
hair,
So who
giant
gets to
eyes.
decide? Who gets to decide what
You
DNA
gotta
you
decide.
want
You
in?
just make yourself.
Wait a
like
minute,
that.
this
You're making
gets
a
It's like going to the
sandwich.
grocery store.
You're making your sandwich. You're saying, like, this is
No.
my sandwich, no one else's.
Nature's making a sandwich, not us. We're not supposed to be making
Make
that
her
sandwich.
agreeable
Nature
too.
makes
Says
it,
who?
right?
Fuck
Who's
nature. Let's
nature?
make nature our bitch.
Oh, haven't we already?
Let's genetically clone. Let's genetically alter trees so they make more oxygen and also can talk and be like, please don't cut me down.
Okay,
Just
so
to make lumberjacks feel sad.
what makes you think they don't say that already? You just can't hear
Have you ever cut a tree down?
it. Yes. Well,
I heard them scream when they fall down and go crack.
well, they've actually proven that plants recognize
Because
people.
plants are sort of pseudo-sentient.
Yes, they are. They understand a lot more than are more perceptive than what people think, and so that's something
See,
that.
we could have the Wizard of Oz, crabapple trees, just with the arms and throwing there. Don't take my apples; these are mine. We could have those just walking the streets.
And what would vegans do then?
Oh,
They could
God.
eat nothing.
It would get rid of all the vegans. That would be great. The
I
wheatgrass
was
is
afraid
like,
we were going to go
the
down that.
wheatgrass is blinking up and they're going.
Yes, can we please go down the vegan?
Trees are pretty tough. They know.
Please
If they're gonna,
shower.
if you, trees get into gangs, what are you going to do? You know.
That's why we have chainsaws
Why do vegans smell worse than the people?
Yeah.
and
You
with
know,
fire.
They got splinters, man.
I have a heavy-duty jacket and gloves.
They. I don't know. They've.
We bring napalm back and just take out before we defoliate like we did in Nam. We still got docs.
We
in the
should
tank
branch
somewhere.
off into something else here. We're lumbering along with this issue. Right?
But it was a little bit of a stretch on the vegan thing there, yeah.
We're barking up the wrong tree.
Wherever we're going here.
We should move on before I get stuck.
We should move on to meat eaters that are against hunting. Fuck you guys. No, sorry.
No. Erase.
Is there a more
I
hypocritical
did that
group
video.
of people
Yeah.
that are meat eater than people that are meat eaters that are against hunters? I'm gonna say, well, how unethical is it to eat the stuff from the grocery store?
Does anybody notice we jumped
Awesome.
from like way over here to way over there, and it's like this subject which has nothing whatsoever to do, but somehow we made that bridge. We
I'd
built
like to-
that bridge.
I'd like to say hello to all the sentient toasters out there within the round of my voice. I want you all to burn all the next set of toast you make.
Would you care for a muffin?
Would you like some toast?
Next week we'll
Now
just
we're
read
talking
all of your
about-
comments.
Well, now we're talking about Red Dwarf. Okay, if anybody doesn't
That was
know.
Talkie the toaster. Talkie toaster.
Lucky Toaster, yeah.
Was Talkie the toaster hunter?
Well, he's more of a gatherer. You had to feed him toast so he could make it.
That's
It
true.
always comes back to the toast, no matter, you can get into intelligent conversation with them, but it's always going to lead up to...
Would you like a biscuit?
Yeah.
Or would you like a crumble? How about
It's a
some toast?
one-track mind toast.
Had I'm on a Whole30 diet right now. You guys are making me hungry. I can't have bread.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, that's good for you. And make sure you stay on that. Gluten-free.
We're in between subjects. You guys, please give us a like and subscribe. If you like what I do, please comment down below. Anything you don't like, you do like, you want to see one of us do in any of our videos, give us a comment down below, and just thank you for supporting us. We're at over 100 subscribers now, and if I continue to ramble right now long enough, one of us will think of the next subject.
You want to talk about that damn duck sauce or McDonald's sauce?
Oh, that's
the
right.
Szechuan
the
sauce.
Szechuan.
That's what we were
McDonald's,
starting
yeah.
with. So go nuts on that.
Yeah.
I only know of that because of the Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't watch Mulan. I didn't go to McDonald's that often in '97. So I've had it.
so
Okay,
apparently, yeah.
just so you know, okay, establish a little history here. I worked for 5 different McDonald's restaurants when coming out of high school and whatnot. I was one of the original crew that opened up the Madison Street McDonald's on Capitol Hill in Seattle, which is now gone. Apparently, they closed it down. But I know a lot about McDonald's, and believe me, the way they made them in the old days were much better than.
Well, of course, I've even heard that from people, from my family. They've been like,
But
"Oh,
you
we
never
went to-"
got the chance to experience those fresh
they-
made fries.
I mean, they used to make
you know?
like those fillet of fishes with salmon, and then they used like
Oh, wow.
cod or halibut, and now it's just like Alaskan like haddock or something.
Yeah.
Oh god, the last time I tried a McDonald's fish fillet, it was literally one of the most disgusting things I've ever ordered at a restaurant.
I don't eat breaded fish.
I tried one bite and it was just.
This isn't a slam against McDonald's. This is just a personal experience review. Okay, so
But
McDonald's.
they've had a great week though.
I
Do
love
you-
their sausage and egg McMuffins. I would eat me a whole wheelbarrow full of them if someone brought me one.
Double
They
quarter
are
pounder
good.
with cheese. I love the double quarter pounder cheese because I get them with extra Big Mac sauce and extra fresh.
And this is what Garth has in common with O.J. Simpson, whose first meal
Oh,
out of prison this year
Did I
was
walk-
2 quarter-pounder meals.
That was a
That's
landmine.
that
was waiting for
that
me.
was their first mistake this week.
That's
then,
also why he takes the elevator up here instead of the stairs.
O.J. Simpson. Cross that
and
bridge.
then the whole Szechuan thing. If anybody doesn't know about the Szechuan thing yet, there was a Szechuan promo for the movie Mulan back in the 90s. So Rick and Morty had a little blip, which is probably the most popular cartoon out there right now, about they go back in time just to get the Szechuan sauce. McDonald's tells all these people, or millions of people are emailing and calling McDonald's saying, bring back this frickin' Szechuan sauce. So they said, okay, we're going to bring it back. What they don't tell everyone is they're going to bring it back for one day, and then they only gave franchisees about 20 packets on average. Some of the stores didn't even get it. There was lines and lines around buildings of kids crying, people calling the police, rioting because they could not get the Szechuan sauce. So McDonald's, I see they have to bring it back now. I don't see how you can not.
Well, is there a
I don't know,
food
they don't
out there?
keep the McRib around all year round. The
God,
McRib comes
so
and then it
awesome.
goes, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, the McRib's coming back! I think I just stained my pants."
Is there a food that from a fast food that we don't have anymore that you would like to see again? Is there something you want to be brought back into the now from any fast food?
Yeah, I don't know from a chain restaurant, but there's this little store where I live. They used to have the best like spinner hot dogs in the machine. They were these Canada's best hot dogs, and they haven't had them for like 15 years. And every time I go up there, I'm thinking maybe they'll have them this time. And I'm like, hey, can you get the Canadian best hot dog back? They're like, oh, we could do that, but blah blah. And they just throw like ballpark ones on there. These like bratwurst sausage things. They're like, I want my fucking little hot dog. That's all I want. $1 for one good little Canada's best hot dog. I can't think of anything from a chain restaurant.
Okay, when I got out of the Air Force, Jack in the Box had turned into Monterey Jacks. Do you remember that?
No.
I remember
That's
that.
probably before your time.
I don't like
Okay.
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box started out as Jack in the Box. Then they decided to blow up the clown, and there was a big commercial and a big advertising campaign, and they became Monterey Jacks. Okay, and that's when I got out of the Air Force. I was going there. They had the special cheese sauce on their nachos, and they would put jalapenos in there and stuff like that. It was absolutely brilliant. This sauce, I don't know where it came from, but it tasted really
You don't
good.
want to know.
I loved this particular meal. And then they got rid of Monterey Jacks. They got rid of that meal, okay, and went back to being the old Jack in the Box, you know. Life was never the same after that. So I really wish that they would, if Jack in the Box wanted to do something, they should bring back that particular nachos and the sauce that they had that I enjoyed so much. I would be a steady customer.
I just want Boston Market back. Can we get?
Yeah, it'd be good
yeah.
to get one of those back up here.
Oh, you want that back?
Yeah, can we get somewhere that has like a home style meal that's a chain that's not Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Go ahead. Go.
I thought of something from a chain restaurant, a fast food restaurant that I would like to come back. Back in the mid '90s, Pizza Hut, they had this thing called the Bigfoot Pizza.
I remember that.
It was about
yeah.
3 feet long. It was about the size of like a boogie board, and it was like the perfect version of like the cafeteria pizza, where it's all like square, like bunch of squares,
yeah, I
and then you
remember
get
that.
like a corner piece. And it was awesome, and we used to, like, my family used to get together, and we used to be like, oh, yeah, pizza, because the best pieces were the crustless middle bits. Because it was all just pouring over the sides, and they stopped doing it, and And I've gone to like every time I go to a pizza, I'm like, is the Bigfoot coming back yet? Is that coming back yet? And they're like, no, but we remember that.
Okay, so this is
everyone
a message.
hashtag Bigfoot Pizza Hut. Everyone get on Facebook, get on Twitter,
hit them
bring
up.
back the Bigfoot Pizza.
Also, and Taco Time used to have a promotion on Tuesdays where if you bought one taco, they would give you a free taco as well.
Oh,
It was
they're
called
crispy
Two Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
They did away with that because one day I went in there was like, I would like 4 tacos. And I got my bag, I'm like, I only have 4 tacos. And they're like, I should have 8 tacos. I said, oh, we don't do that anymore. And I was like, you horrible monster.
It was too good of a deal to last, is what that
It
was.
lasted for like 30 years.
There used to be a place called H Salt Fish and Chips. Anybody ever heard of that?
No, I don't eat Brita fish.
It was like kind of like a Skipper's or Ivar's, you know.
I get the premise.
Only better. They really had a good menu and whatnot. You know, our family loved it and whatnot. And then they went out of business and we never saw them again. But if you go to the Royal Orchid, I think it is over in Renton, that used to be the H Salt Fish and Chips. They built all these places and they became something else, and they're still out there. These buildings, you know. They have a particular sign configuration.
This is all in the Seattle area. If no one
That's
knows
true.
where we're at, we're filming out of Everett. We're about 30 miles from Seattle.
Now, is there a burger? Well, we got Carl's Jr. We got Sonic, right? Who don't we have? What fast food don't we have up here?
We don't have In-N-Out Burger.
Okay.
We don't have Fat. No, we have Fat Burger.
Yeah, we got
Or
Fat
Whataburger.
Burger.
Fat Burger? We also don't have. What's the one down in Texas? What Burger?
Whataburger.
Whataburger.
Yeah. I would like to see Whataburger. In fact, I actually did email Whataburger. I said, look, I would really love to have you guys move up here. I've got 3 daughters. We're all willing to work.
Do we
Bring
have
it up.
any, do we have any Dave and Buster's around here? Because I'd love to go get drunk and play video games with other adults.
I would definitely like to do that with you. There is not anything close that I know of.
I mean, is even GameWorks still in downtown Seattle anymore, or has that been like plowed
I don't
under?
know, but they were talking about they were supposed to move a Dave & Buster's into Linwood. You know where the Chevy's is,
Kind of.
and the grocery. You know where the grocery outlet is there, the parking lot. There's
no.
a McDonald's. Okay,
But I'd probably find it.
there's a Chevy's that's been out
Wait
of
a minute,
business
wait a
for like
minute.
10 years.
The Sears is shut down at all over the mall. It's being turned into a Dave & Buster's, isn't it?
Oh, is that where it's going?
Yeah.
Oh,
I hope
that'd
so.
be cool.
That's
Oh,
what it's
well.
going to be.
Because I remember GameWorks
Oh.
back in the day when I used to live down near Seattle and would go there when I was younger. They did have like a floor that had like a little backspace and had a bar for like 21 and over.
Yeah.
So you could go in there, liquor up, and then play that game that shoots you up and down the thing where you're like, it's like it was a Spider-Man game at the time. So you would like be on a rig thing and you'd go up and you'd go down and then you'd throw up and you'd go down.
Well,
We need to add alcohol to that.
so this is, I've never been there, but I'm sure it's similar to, I've been to Round 1 over at South Center.
I have no idea. I've never
And
been
that's the
to
same
that.
thing. You've never been there?
No.
It's like every single video game in the world, plus, from overseas and stuff like that. Plus a bowling alley, plus beer.
beer.
Okay.
That's
Plus
nice.
they have karaoke rooms, private karaoke rooms that you can go into and stuff.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So, round 1, if you want fun, there you go. Okay, so what is the funnest thing you can do on an extracurricular, activity around Puget Sound that
Legally?
that basically entails going to a certain business to get it done? Would
I
you
don't
say?
know. I don't know.
Because round 1 would be right up there.
For me, anywhere that you can
Beer,
bungee
bowling,
jump.
and
Anywhere you can bungee jump for me. Bungee jumping or skydiving.
What?
Those are my favorite things to do in
You've
life.
done that before?
Yeah, when I was, even with my lack of depth perception, when I was in the Air Force, actually, I passed all the testing for pararescue. I would jump from 2,000 feet. And they didn't realize, for some reason, they missed the depth perception on my testing. And I went all the way through tech school and get to the very end. And I was in the top 5% of the target. We would jump from 2,000 feet, and you're supposed to get so close to a target. And, I mean, I was always in, like, the top 3 of my flight. And all of a sudden, the captain calls me in one day. He's like, I'm really sorry. I don't know how I missed this. I really apologize. But you cannot be a pararescue. You can't jump out of planes because you can't frickin' see. You have almost no depth perception. I said, well, I'm in the top closest to the targets every single time. He's like, how do you figure this out? I said, well, we're 2,000 feet up. And, and I said, I calculate, how fast we're going, how fast kind of I'm going, and how far away the target is. But I said, eventually it comes down to basically just saying 1, 2, 3 and pulling the cord. And he kind of put his hands over his face, and he's like, I can't believe you did that. But, yeah, you can't be A pararescue
Oh,
driver.
that's a bummer. That's a letdown. You know, you got they put you into something, they screw up, right? They put you in there, you aren't supposed to be in there. You're doing great, everything's fine, and then they at the last minute, oh, here's a hoop we forgot, and so
Yeah,
you can't do it.
I left at that point. They actually gave me the option to either take a shitty job because I'd already been through boot school and tech school, or opt out of the military, and I decided to opt out.
Yeah, you don't want to have to go down that road again if you don't have to. I mean, if you're not going to get what they, what you know, the sweet deal that they, you know, had it down in writing for you, you know, and they're not going to give you, and they don't got anything else, you know, why not?
Didn't you have one of those barometric release valves on there where like if you descend to a certain altitude, it would pop your chute open immediately for you?
Yeah.
So what was
Yeah,
the problem?
Yeah, I did have that one. And then the first time they do push you, and I swear that I would have jumped, but nobody jumps. So, you know, the guy goes, okay, on 3, we're going to jump, of course, 1, and about halfway through 2, he pushes you and then holds you the whole way and you tandem jump. But that was a lot scarier than waiting for the 3 and just jumping. Because you're not expecting it, obviously.
So you think there should be just a business? I'm sure there's skydiving.
Well, there's
businesses
skydiving around here. I need to get into them. I'm actually too heavy
But
to skydive
bungee,
right now.
Bungee is a little bit more exotic. I don't know many.
I don't think it's more because you need taller structures for bungee jumping.
Yeah.
Skydiving, you just need a plane and a field.
Yeah, there you go.
And of course a parachute.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of prize out
That's a
now
plus.
for human-powered aircraft? Right now, there's got some big prize out. Anybody can design human-powered aircraft now.
Human-powered?
Human-powered, yeah.
It's like a bicycle version of an airplane?
Exactly.
Is that like when you they show those old photos from like 1910s and there's something like pedaling a fucking plane and those got like a big fishtail on it?
There's actually been people who have had sustain. You got to sustain so far off the ground for so long.
But what's the purpose though? What's
It'd be like a glider to get over all of traffic in Seattle when you're stuck in traffic
get
for
away
6
from
fucking
cars.
hours.
To basically have your, human-powered.
It could be like an
aircraft.
ultralight, only with the, you know what an ultralight is, like the
Yeah.
gliders but you have to be at a high structure.
Yeah, but you have to be in like super duper shape because say you get up to like 1,000 feet and you're like, oh, I got a cramp and I'm tired.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, then you just
Or
glide.
what if you passed out? Yeah, I mean that can happen at elevation or when you're exerted or
You don't
Well,
get that
obviously,
fighting for your life.
Obviously, you don't want to go that high, right? You want to go just high enough to clear the telephone wires, and whatnot, and or maybe there'll be like areas of road or safe areas for you to fly.
If someone could develop
point
that,
A to
I would
point B.
definitely drop $30,000 on it in a
The
heartbeat.
other way I see that like being any kind of functional practicality is if we perfect maglev, where you're just kind of floating and then you pedal it, it pushes the little fan behind you, but the
There you go.
maglev keeps you up.
Oh, like the Fan Man. Remember you guys don't remember the Fan Man back in the
he
day?
he would parachute out and he'd jump over Super Bowls and he had the big giant, puffer blower on his
Yeah.
back.
He landed in the middle of the ring during, I think it was their second fight between Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield, and a bunch of drunk fight fans. So they just beat the living hell out of him. It caused like a 45-minute delay on the fight. Look up the footage if you haven't seen this. Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Fan Man. They beat him over the head with beer bottles. He was totally unconscious.
Also, the episode of The Simpsons where Homer becomes a professional boxer, has to fight Dredrick Tatum. Moe saves him with a Fan Man suit.
Oh, I think I missed that one.
I haven't seen that.
Like
They've covered everything though,
fourth
so it's
season.
naturally that they would be there. Yeah.
Well, in 30-some years, yeah.
So who's the champ now? Anybody know?
Heavyweight champ?
Me?
I don't know.
No,
Some
boxing
European,
champ.
some European person. Heavyweight. Honestly, I used to follow boxing so much. It was Klitschko. He got beat by Sanders. I can't remember the guy's first name. It was a white guy actually. Then that guy went nuts. Klitschko won it again, and then I think he lost to some guy that I don't even know his name. Oh, Tyson Fury had the belt for a little while. He beat Klitschko, and then he went like completely nuts. He was already nuts. But yeah, and then Klitschko lost it to somebody. I have no
I
idea.
follow one boxer, Deontay Wilder.
I've seen him. I don't know a whole lot about him. But
Oh, now this brings us to sports and the big topic that we haven't covered from this last week, which is the NFL protests.
No, did everybody taking a knee thing?
did
Yeah.
you see
Freedom of speech.
DirecTV?
Let them do it.
Yeah. Did you see DirecTV though actually offered refunds for people that bought NFL ticket?
Oh, fucking really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was quite the stance. I don't whatever side you're on it. That is a very very bold stance. That's one of the boldest stances I think I've seen from a company in a very long time.
Yeah, and people have the right to turn the channel off too, and just
Yeah, you have the
walk
right.
away
You have the
from
right
the
either
NFL.
way.
Yeah.
You can just flip over to something else while it's singing, so it doesn't piss you off to see, and then you can get back after right time for kickoff.
No, the whole
Just don't
idea
get
is
mad
to
about it.
punish the NFL for being unpatriotic and allowing these unpatriotic demonstrations when it clearly states in the rule book what to do, and they're not doing it purposely in order to support Black Lives Matter.
Do you know the history of the national anthem in NFL games, though? Back in 2002, the NFL the military, they did not do the national anthem. The military started paying the NFL millions of dollars to do the national anthem and have contract that the players would commemorate, put their hand over their heart. So before that, nobody even did it until the government came in and gave them all this money. After 9/11, you had the whole
Army of One.
Oh yeah, the whole Army of One slogan. It was a huge campaign for the Army that worked really well. And you had Pat Tillman, the guy that after 9/11, he was a professional football player, decided to leave his career, went over to Afghanistan.
Or
Yeah.
Coast Guard or something.
Well, how do you think it's
and
going to
died.
How do you think it's going to end up? How's this going to shake
I think
out?
it's going to end very quickly, but something I found really interesting, just in the last couple of days, Colin Kaepernick was interviewed by CBS it wasn't a videoed interview because he didn't agree to a video interview, but he said, I'll sit down, me and my family, with this reporter. Then the reporter 2 days ago said, it was in the headlines that Colin Kaepernick said, if a team re-signs him, I will stand for the national anthem. So we're like, okay, he's back
really?
on. Then today they retracted that and said that he never said it. So I don't know what the true story is, but if that reporter actually made that up, and that's a pretty big issue.
Well, if it's on film, what are you going to do?
They didn't film it. That's the problem. He didn't agree to be filmed.
Here's my take on this whole thing. It's a bunch of guys playing a goddamn game that don't matter. At the end of the day, one team's going to win, one team's going to lose. They're not curing cancer. They're athletes playing a game. Take a knee, take a knee. You want to stand, salute, stand, salute. It shouldn't be fucking news that really fucking matters. There's way more important stuff going on than we should be covering. This stupid, okay, this guy's kneeling, that guy's standing, this guy's kneeling, that guy's standing. Some people look pissed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Unless
I understand if you're offended, if you were a veteran and you served, and you're like, damn it, you're going to stand there and you're going to put your hand over your heart for me because I lost my leg in Quezon back in '62. I can understand you being a little frustrated about that. But if you're just Joe fuck you working at 7-Eleven, it's like, you don't have an opinion. It doesn't fucking matter.
Well, and you don't have to watch the damn game.
This is sports venues are one of the few places where liberals and conservatives, and no matter what your political or religious leaning is, everybody goes there and enjoys that.
I don't care for organized sports.
If one side is allowed to protest or take a knee, see, they wouldn't let Tebow take a knee, right? He was told no.
I have no idea. I don't watch sports.
Well, Tebow's caught on. It just caught on late. It's everybody's doing it now.
TiVo is the thing that records my television.
Just tell the players that they're all praying, and maybe they'll stop.
Well, the whole idea is that you don't let one side or the other is able to have carte blanche to demonstrate, and the other side does not.
I understand the principle of that argument. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just saying the games
essentially,
don't
it
matter.
shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening because the rule are supposed to basically keep the venue a safe place for everybody.
Why is it unsafe if they're just kneeling and standing?
Because where does it end up if you have
riots in the streets, blood, women and children,
we have that now.
screaming, horses talking to each other, cats eating faces?
What-
It's a football game. It's never changed anyone's life except for some guy that played it or somebody that bet money on
Haven't you
it.
seen how violent these soccer games get? And there's been violence against fans down in Oakland and stuff like that.
Well, they're Raiders.
But that had nothing to do with taking a knee, though, as far as I know. But why is this such a bigger issue
It's also the
than
most
people standing in front of traffic, flipping over cars, bashing Starbucks windows?
There's a time and a place to protest, and when people are getting together peacefully, that's not the time to.
Are you mad because their helmets could be considered masks?
We were going to bring masks this week, but Ryan made a good point that it would muffle our sound.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
It's also the most non-violent form of protest. They're not doing anything. It's the Gandhi way.
Well, basically, the whole way is the anonymity thing, okay, and it's a
Their
free
jerseys
speech
have their
thing.
names on them.
There is a free speech angle.
Oh, you're talking about the mask?
Yeah,
You're
I'm talking
going back
about
to
the
the
mask.
mask. Oh.
We've discussed that already once.
At any rate, I'm against people protesting anonymously because of the danger of violence. Of people that come in, you don't know who the hell they are, and they're there to bust stuff up.
Yeah.
I do have a question. In all the history of all the protests that any of us know about, was there anybody ever there, putting out name tags, saying like, okay, you're Jeff B. Okay, there you go, Jeff. Go be protest.
There's nice.
There's Carol Ann. Here you go. There's your. So they're anonymous, but not anonymous, because no one shows up with a name tag saying, hey, this is my name, this is my address, this is where I work. I'm against this.
Well,
unless
the whole idea is that you don't want people getting hurt at these protests. The whole idea is not to have clashes between opposing sides. That
World War I, World War II.
Would you imagine just working the concession stands during the LA riots? How much fun that would be? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd want to put on riot guard and have the whole glass window and stuff, but I mean, you would see some cool stuff.
Sell tire irons, bats, hammers.
Well, that could be a crime. I'm just thinking, hot dogs and
socks full of
kettle corn.
Well, essentially, you because of the amount of cameras and the videos and everything else, you can't have protests like we used to have. You can't.
We read this earlier.
They put a mask on and they can't find.
And so protest, the whole form of protest, okay, is going to shift dramatically, okay, because A, it's not safe. B, there's protest fatigue, right? Nobody cares about your protest anymore because everybody's protesting. Everybody's got a protest.
I think the best way of protesting I think kind of changed the subject, but in boycotting, we did bring boycotting back into a new generation. And I think that's my favorite way of protesting. You're not hurting anyone. You're not, you're not...
Just take your toys and go.
You're just not feeding the corporate giant that you don't like anymore.
Yeah, and why should you have to? If Starbucks does something you don't agree with, you don't buy a freaking coffee from Starbucks.
Like when the head of the Chick-fil-A made the comment about against gay marriage or whatever, and everybody started boycotting, Chick-fil-A's.
Oh my God, the chicken sandwiches are so delicious.
And then gays would actually go engage and have fun times in their bathrooms with each other, just to say, fuck you, Chick-fil-A, mop this up.
Ooh.
Did they still order chicken sandwiches?
Do people actually do stuff like that?
Yeah, I would.
I just seen they were kissing.
That's not a protest. That's vandalism. That's just nasty.
I don't know. I'm pretty torn on Chick-fil-A because they have some very delicious chicken sandwiches.
I've never tried their food.
Well, there should. Not bad.
Don't judge until it's pretty freaking amazing.
Okay, so essentially the protest.
No, we've discussed this before. We did a whole thing on it last time.
If you want to go into violence, what restaurant chain, we were kind of talking earlier, has the creepiest mascot? We were talking about Ronald McDonald and the Burger King king.
The king is the king. It's good to be the king.
The king is the creepiest.
Yeah, when you wake up, he's in bed there, with breakfast.
Oh, that is super creepy.
Right? Yeah. But
that is super creepy. But I think him and
who was behind that particular campaign, I don't know. But
they embraced the creepiness of that guy, though.
They sure did.
That's right. That was fun. They even made the game, the crappy Xbox game called Sneak King. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
You can get it for free with the adult Happy Meal or whatever.
I think it was just free to download.
There was a disc version of it too, because I still have it somewhere. I did.
Crazy.
It might be sitting around somewhere, yeah. But yeah, it was cheap. Some people were even selling it on eBay for a couple bucks or whatever. But I would buy an adult Happy Meal if each one came with a free video game on a disc.
Don't Happy Meal come with a beer and hand release?
You know what I wish? I wish they would have fast food delivery with drones.
Grubhub.
Drones?
And Uber Eats.
With drones?
I don't know about drones.
Amazon's getting there. Amazon will deliver you groceries via drone.
Why can't your pizza?
Oh yeah, within an hour.
Your pizza should come from with a drone, and it should be 5 minutes or it's free or something like that.
You have to really package that so it didn't get stuff in it and get
also,
cold.
You have to remember seagulls exist and they're scavengers.
And they're smart too.
Dive bombing the
Oh, that would be so awesome to watch.
You'd be following your order online, and then just all of a sudden you just see it crashing, and what happened to my pizza? And you have to call up Pizza Hut or whomever and be like, oh yeah, gulls got it. Sorry, it's a 1 in 5 thing that happens sometimes. We'll send you some free crazy sticks.
I still think it's a good idea. Drone delivery for fast food. You just whatever fast food you want to. You don't got to go there. You don't got to get in that drive up. You don't got to breathe that exhaust. You don't have to wait for someone to figure out remember their card number or whatever.
You can get Cheetos and Mountain Dew and beer at 2:00 in the morning from a drone, though. That seems close enough.
I still think a better resource would be just pneumatic tubes. Just everybody's hooked up to the pneumatic tube system. You put in your order, they shove it in, flies around, boom, tube of food right there. Stays hot because it's encased in a little plastic thingy. Don't have to worry about the gulls. Don't have to worry about anything else. It just shoots it to you like when you go to the bank.
Huh?
You might not want to order a drink though.
Really cut down on traffic, though.
Yeah, and also I'm just a big fan of pneumatic tubes.
You
I
like
love
that?
that from like the 1920s or teens where they had the tubes running over like New York and
Yeah,
Chicago.
yeah.
Is that where the
I
country's
love
going
that.
down the tubes? Where that came from?
They had the automat. Remember the automat?
I've never been to one, but I remember more of what they were.
Yeah, basically, you know, food. You know, you just paid and just pulled it out.
It's not like little treadmills. Some of them have to like just to go around the restaurant, but yeah, you put like your buck in and then you go like C5 and you slide the door open like, oh look, chicken sandwich.
Oh yeah, I've seen the sushi bowls, that belts that still go
That's
around
a big
like
thing in
that.
Japan. They have that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how much you pay varies on the grade of the fish or grade of the whatever.
I found out that Japan likes green tea flavored Kit Kat bars.
Yeah, I've had them.
You've actually tasted those?
Yeah.
What
We
is
also have strawberry Twix.
Interesting.
Strawberry Twix. Why don't we have these over here on our shelves?
Because
Yeah,
Americans are.
Yeah, I would try a
have
strawberry
finicky
Twix.
palate.
Well, they ought to introduce. What's our sponsors? Jive.
Jive, yeah.
Maybe we can merchandise
introduce
some of
them,
these.
yeah.
Introduce that, you know. But anyway, we have fast food drones. That's what I want. Fast food drones. Because that's even faster.
Well, see, then I'm just there's be someone out there, there with a BB gun, going like, "Oh look, McDonald's! I'm hungry."
That's what I'm thinking. I want to know how many drones are shot down each year.
I have a drone hunting license.
I want one because I would shoot one down. Now I'm going to get in trouble for saying that when I do.
Wait a minute,
but-
did you see the quarterback that got hit with the laser?
No, I don't watch sport things.
Okay, well,
I've said this several times.
it was on YouTube. There was one of these quarterbacks. Somebody in the stands was using the laser on him while he was trying to throw, and it blinded him.
Yeah, there's those super powerful green lasers that are like yo big, and
Oh, geez, yeah.
they're the ones that
that's
people
not
try and
good.
point at planes that are landing, and they fuck with them.
Yeah,
I know.
those people need to have their balls chopped off and cause somebody to crash a freaking plane.
Well, it definitely ruins the game if something like that happens. And
Millions of dollars
yeah,
down the drain.
exactly. And so
But-
they have to take certain safeguards and whatnot. But it's getting to the point where our technology is changing the traditional sports, traditional protests, traditional voting. The way we have community is virtual. It's online now. But this whole thing we're doing is part of that technological revolution. Wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, and definitely as far as like steroids and genetically modifying your body. What's to say in the future when in utero, your parents decide to have you genetically modified to where you're going to have a higher muscle mass and you're kicking the shit out of people in the UFC? Or can they ban you because of something your parents did? I mean, we're going to face all kinds of different things like this. Honestly, I think sports are not going to be the same. Ryan will be happy. I think I don't even know if they will really exist in the way they do today 10, 15 years from now.
I think they'll get more violent
With all the
they'll
brain
get
damage.
much more like sissified. Like I thought for like Blood Bowl to be a real thing. But I was not aware that it's it's like a comic and it was like a game back in the day. Where basically it was like football with like enhanced people and you'd like get an arm torn off and you'd fucking like run over landmines and then they'd put you in a tank and refix your shit.
Oh, I never seen that one. I remember something like that on TurboGrafx 16, but it was a different.
There was a cartoon like in the
That's
early
nice.
90s that lasted for like 5 episodes.
Huh.
And it was like one of the most violent cartoons I'd ever seen.
Oh, someone should bring it back.
I'm sure you can
On
find
YouTube
it.
or
YouTube, I'm
something.
guaranteed it's probably on here somewhere.
What's the
check
name
it
of it?
out?
Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl. So
That
it's-
sounds
Now, see,
like
that I'd watch. But I don't care about seeing guys catching a ball and being like, yay, dance, 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 kneel, stand, whatever.
this is.
But someone with one arm running down, like trying to hold that son of a bitch and like avoiding landmines, I'll watch that all fucking day long.
Okay,
That's a sport.
So essentially, what we're talking about is apples and oranges. We're talking baseball versus
I like
Roman gladiatorial events with swords and.
I like limes.
Eventually,
helmets.
we have to end up back at the gladiators, and then it has to get banned again because people will just become too desensitized.
Yeah,
You want more and more blood.
But not just that. It's not. We don't have arenas anymore. The whole country's a freaking arena.
Well, there's still stadiums.
Yeah, and basically the stadiums they're just a target now. They're a soft target, okay, for whatever political faction has got the money for terrorism now.
Any large gathering of people is a target. I mean, that's why we have saturation bombing.
It's been that way
So
for
we're
a
gonna
very long time, way before.
So sports is going to
recent
be
shootings.
basically televised. You know, you don't show up at a sports event because of the odds you might get, you know, mowed down, you know, by a bump stock or something.
Or we've got the giant bugs from Starship Troopers just sending meteors at us. So
You never know. We might have, you know, genetically modified earthworms that turned into dune worms, right?
Earthworm Jim. Earthworm Jim. Remember Earthworm Jim, everybody?
Remember Earthworm Jim?
Woohoo!
I don't remember Earthworm Jim.
Should make an Earthworm
That's
Jim
a millennial thing. I don't think
Should
I
make an
know.
Earthworm
I
Jim
am
movie.
Generation
Yeah.
Y.
Yeah. By the way, have you guys?
I remember
speaking-
Mighty Mouse. He kicked butt.
I like Danger Mouse. He was the British equivalent.
Really? Well, Mighty Mouse would have kicked his butt too.
Mighty Mouse was cool. Speaking about movies, have you guys heard about this new Movie Pass? Have you seen it? You can see as many movies as you want for $9.99 a month.
No,
I actually have one, and it freaking works. And this is not a scam. It was made by the founders of Netflix. No, the founders, the guy who helped found Netflix and Redbox. $9.99 a month. You can go see as many movies as you want. And the idea behind it right now is they're going to lose a bunch of money, and then in a few years, movie theaters will come to the table and say, hey, we're bringing you all these extra people. Work with us. Try to make some kind of monthly thing.
Right.
We can work with the IMAX systems. We can add popcorn, sodas, and whatever. But, I mean, I know me. How often do we not go to movies because they're so freaking expensive?
Yeah.
I don't go because I don't like people that much.
Aha, it's a soft target.
No, I just don't like people that much. But I know AMC has like some kind of like rewards sort of thing like that, similar to where like you pay a fee and you get so many showings a month you can go to.
Oh, I got the rewards card. It sucks though. I don't know how many points I went to movies, and the biggest thing I ever got was a free small popcorn when you bought another small popcorn and a soda.
I got a whole garbage bag full of movie theater popcorn once.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because I live in a small shitty town, so I don't think my theater would take your card thing. I'm certain it has to be like a chain like Lowe's or
It's just a MasterCard.
Oh, it's just a movie master.
So if anyone
it's a
doesn't,
movie credit card, okay.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know how MoviePass works,
I don't. Please tell me.
Yeah. So what you do is you have to have. Sorry, Ryan. You have to have a smartphone.
Oh, see
I forgot about that part. Anyways, you get within 100 yards of the theater. You pick out the movie you want in the theater. You tell them what you want. It preloads on your card the exact amount for that movie. Then you have 1 hour to go up there and pay for that movie. They cannot tell the difference between it and a regular MasterCard unless they look on it and see the Movie Pass. But right now, MasterCard's not allowing them to not take the Movie Pass cards. So you just give them that, and you can go see one movie a day. So you can see 30 movies in a month.
Nice.
That'd be cool. I plan on seeing a movie next week, so that'll be nice.
Huh.
Which movie?
My Little Pony,
Blade Runner?
the movie.
What?
I shit you not.
What? My Little Pony? What?
The movie, yes.
You're a brony?
I appreciate the film. I appreciate what it is. I wouldn't
Holy
consider myself a brony.
Oh, no.
My Little Pony. Are you? Did
Brody.
you bring acid when you watch My Little Pony movie?
I won't be sober, that's for darn sure. Because
I'm gonna go see Blade
It's
Runner.
gonna take that
It
minute
makes
to
a
walk,
little more sense.
to walk up to the counter and be like, "Hi, I'm 33. I would like to see the My Little Pony movie, please."
Okay, what we got to do is we got to decide on the movie. We all go see it. We come here and then we do our own movie reviews as well. Make it a separate video. How's that sound?
It's a grand movie to watch.
I'm gonna go see the Kingsman 2 at some point too.
Oh,
so-
that's what I want to see the most. Yeah,
right.
that's one of my favorite movies.
My God, that's very American. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I guarantee there's gonna be some sort of souped-up pickup truck Channing Tatum's driving.
I don't know if they can beat the church scene. God, I love the. Have you
That
seen
was
the
a
movie?
super
Can
No.
you-
that was
Oh
good,
my
but-
God, that was so
I'll
awesome.
have
You have to
start
watch
from
it.
scratch.
You have to watch the Kingsman Secret Service.
It's
It
I
will
heard
improve your
I heard
life.
it's a good action
Yeah.
adventure.
Yes, it
And
will
the-
improve your life.
Archer even did a commercial for it.
Oh.
They had like Archer meet one of the Kingsmen. He like broke into that room in the little tailor shop. And the guy's like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Oh, I found all this cool shit back there." He's like, "Put it back." I was like, "Fuck you." And he just drinks his whole decanter of whiskey and then passes out.
I've gotten addicted to Archer.
I've seen every episode. I missed a few of the Archer Noir because I forgot the week it starts. I missed the first one, but I've seen like the second. I have them all TiVo'd, but I can't find the first one on.
Oh,
Like
'cause you,
YouTube or
oh,
whatever.
that's right, because you can't get it on. They're all on Netflix.
They're on
but-
Netflix. I have most of the DVDs because I like the extra bits.
Oh yeah, one of my
Again,
daughter's
physical media.
One of my daughter's ultra liberal friends was staying with us for a while. She was in the house a lot, and somebody told me to watch Archer, and I watched a couple episodes of it, and she got super offended. She'd leave the room. So that made me want to drink alcohol and watch it all the more, and I just became addicted. I'm halfway through season 4 in like 3 weeks, but yeah, that's what started the Archer obsession.
Well,
and
someone showed me a video of, and I didn't really realize it until they showed it to me, but it was a video. It was a compilation of conversations between Ray Gillette and Mrs. Mallory Archer. And they just fucking hate each other. It's like this 10-minute like little montage of like, oh, little Miss Principal's like, oh, what bitch says what? I already drive them. It's like, oh my, I never noticed they hated each other that much until it was all strung along together. It was delightful.
Thank you, Uncle, for showing
me. You haven't
me
watched? Have you watched Archer?
No, I've seen commercials, I think, but
I love
haven't.
Pam. Pam is just the greatest character.
Oh, Pam Poovey.
Yeah.
I love the ink on her back. It was like, as I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, I walked through fucking evil. And she's got like hash marks on her back because she did all that bare knuckle boxing and kill people.
So yeah, Pam was a badass lady, yeah.
Well,
And when she got thin, she got stacked and hot when she was doing all the coke.
Oh, I haven't gotten that far into it. I'm still in season 4.
Oh, okay. Well, in the new Archer Vice, she loses a little bit of weight.
All right.
Well,
I'll look forward to it.
the Netflix thing that I was getting into, and then they stopped it, was Last Man Standing. That one.
Oh yeah, I never did end up watching that. I heard it was good with Tim Allen.
Oh yeah, it was great, and it was like third in the ratings for was it CBS?
I can't watch comedians from the '90s anymore. I see them and I'm like, oh, you used to be a thing, and now you're kind of sad.
There's a big following. People
Yeah,
wanted
they kind
it
of
to come
fell
back.
out. Is there anybody really from the '90s that is really big right now?
Not really.
I mean, Dave Chappelle was kind of more early 2000s, and then he disappeared, and now she's back.
I mean, he was like in Half Baked in like '97.
Yeah.
And then he got the Chappelle Show in like '02, and then he hit his breakdown and went away. But I mean, there's no really like comedians or stand-up or really big like sitcom comedians that are. I mean, I guess Ed O'Neill from Married with Children was on that Modern Family for a while.
Oh yeah,
but that's the only one I
do like Modern Family. I just started watching that. That's pretty fun.
I've never watched it. I'm just like, no, it's not my type of comedy.
No, I liked Modern Family actually better than Married with Children. I was watching it, but yeah, it took me a while to warm up to it. But
so watch TV, America, and go to sleep. Pay your
Yes.
taxes. Eat red meat.
How's our time? How we doing
drink
on time?
alcohol.
Wear masks.
Or are we on a time limit?
We've got like an hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
And
Well, I
it's
think-
up to 6.
Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you again one time to our sponsor Jive. Click on the link below. Do
Also,
10 jobs during October and you get a $100 bonus.
leave a comment below which Rick and Morty character you think you each are, and we'll try and dress like that one on the next show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Why not?
that would be great. Yeah, I would do that.
Okay, well, let's
I'll
see if
dress
we get
as
a
one of the
response
characters,
on that.
but please give us a like. Please give us subscribe. We want to go live. We're having some issues with the internet here. We may end up having to change studios or something because the internet connection here sucks. But thank you guys for tuning in. If there's any topics you want to see in the future, please put it down there in the comments. Feel free to have comments for any of us. Give us that like and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, guys.
Good night, everybody.